Well, we're live right now. We just went live. And if you get your notifications on, you'll know we went live. But anyway, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everybody. Welcome back to the live stream. Let you know what's cooking in a moment. Just going to say hello to everybody when you come into the chat. Make sure y'all come in. And I'm going to tell everybody on Discord, we're live. We're live on YouTube. Yay. There. This way everybody knows we're live. Double check. Yep. It notified everybody. I know if I got notified, you all got notified. So, and I want to welcome all the new subscribers that did come in and subscribe to the channel. Welcome to the family. Welcome to JJ's PC Builds. And my veteran subscribers, as always, much love to you for all that you do helping support the channel. Before we get started, there was a couple changes I made. I started adding timestamps to the videos. It's going to take me a little while to timestamp the other videos because I got to go backwards in time and then, timestamp them all. There's over 400 plus videos, so that's going to definitely take me quite a while. So just keep your ear balls to that, and then you'll know what's going on right there. Now, we'll be starting in a minute or two. We will be starting in a minute or two because we got a couple things, couple good housekeeping things we got to do and before we get started. And just to let you know, if you'd like to join, if you would like to join the JJ's PC Builds community, let me know and we can send you a link, or I can send you a link in this chat. So this way we can get you a link and get it going, which we're doing now. Just to let you know. Nice dress. This ain't no dress. This is a jacket, bro. This is a jacket. There. I put the link in there so when you come in, you'll see the link. So everybody be all set in what they need to do. Dress. All right, we're just going to go ahead and jump on in it. I know. And the reason why we're doing the video today, to give you a little highlight, seems AMD done unveiled the RX 7600 XT for under $350. If y'all are thinking about doing that, it's under $350. I was watching a video about that, and they said they future-proofed. They're future-proofed the 7600 XT. And that kind of made me wonder, well, if they future-proofed the 7600 XT, what about the 7800 XT and the rest of them? Are they future-proofed too? Nobody gave that answer. So that is one of the answers I was looking for when it comes to that. Razer showed some message mats that might increase immersion when playing fighting games. So it's Las Vegas. Yeah, they're going to show a whole bunch of stuff going with Las Vegas. I didn't really cover it that much, but maybe next week, after everything is settled down a little bit, I'll do some replays on some of the CES that was going on for this week, probably next week. I I just want to get all the information gathered together, how everybody's doing over there and everything else before I put it together, you know. And I am thinking about next year for CES doing that myself and going live and make sure I got all the right equipment and stuff like that to do all that, you know. So we'll see. But if I do go to CES and I do it live, it's going to be on my phone. So you end up having to get them onto the mobile, you know, the mobile channel if you want to see it live. Because my future live purpose for that phone and, you know, that account is going to be for the live streaming and stuff like that, like I told you all. So. Well, we'll get to the 8000G. We're working our way towards it. We are working our way towards it. We're going to go from the 7600 XT, and then we're going to talk about the 40 Super Series, and then we'll talk about the 8000G, and then at the end we'll, you know, gift the gab about what's going to be coming up in the future. If there's anything on the chopping block, we'll talk about it then. So the information I got that I took away from the video is that they said that the 7600 XT was supposed to be future proofed. And they also brought up too the amount of CUs that are on the 7800 XT, you know, are way less than everybody thought. So you might want to check up on that too between the 7600 XT and the 7800 XT and see what the CU difference is between the two. I know the difference between 16 gigabytes and what, 16 gigabytes? Okay. There's something wrong with this picture. Why would they, and that's going to be a question in my mind, what the hell would they put 128-bit on the 7600 XT with 16 gigabytes of VRAM? Their answer to that is because of the latency and what do you call it? I remember they were talking about you know, the time delay and stuff like that. That with it having a little more L3 or something like that, a little bit more cache to compensate for that drop. And so far, some people have tested it and they've said that, you know, it's not that at all. I don't even know how they tested and got their hands on it, truthfully. That's got me all boggled to figure, how do these people always get their hands on the good, you know, this new stuff firsthand? And then, you know, I'm sitting here just wondering, you know, am I going to ever get my hands on it? You know, it's kind of thinking about it, you know. So that's just something to think about. Let's get on with this. Okay. Looking at it, they say a higher FPS in thousands of games. You know, it's going to have the HyperRX, AMD Super Resolution 3, you know, fluid motion frames. It's going to have many of things. It's also too going to have accelerated AI, like Windows Direct ML technology that I'm catching up on right now, you know, and it's supposed to have new levels of immersion when it comes to the display options, like DisplayPort and HDMI. That's nothing new. They put that in there. That's nothing new. They already got it on their other cards, like the HDMI 2.1 and the DisplayPort 2.1. They already got it on many of their newest GPUs as it is. So there's really no sense of rocking and rolling it at that. Well, 60 CUs versus 32 CUs. Yep. plus 8.75% or some. Well, if you look at, if you go to the charts, and for the 7600 XT, and you go on the Tech Power Up, right? You go on the Tech Power Up, and then you see what's cooking. Let me minimize this a little bit. Okay, let's do this. Let's go to Tech Power Up, and let's look at 7600 XT. They got it marked at 100%. Okay, if we look backwards, they got the RX 7600 right here, the 7600, 4% less in performance. So what's that telling you? To me, that tells me that if it's 4% less, it's within the margin of 5%. So, but if you move up down the road and you look at the 7700 XT, it's 33% faster. Okay, doesn't make sense. A lot of people are saying the 6800 and the 6800 XT, are a better way to go. That's what some people are saying. Some people are saying the 7800 XT is the way to go for 61%, but they rolled out a card that has stutters on fluid motion frame and everything else, but it just doesn't make sense. At the price point it's at, I would say only go like $20 more. I would say only $20 more. If you got, let's say, if you got the 7600, right? That's only 8 gigabytes. Okay, that's only 8 gigabytes of VRAM. So looking at that, and the price point of that is $269, but it's PCI 4.0 X8, so that kind of makes a little bit of a difference. But so, you get out the trusty old calculator, you put 269 on it, and you minus the 329 from it. It's like $60 difference between one that's got 8 gigabytes compared to 16 gigabytes of VRAM. Bus-wise, I don't think so. So, bus-wise, see, look at this very carefully. This is the 7600, okay, going down. This is 128-bit bus. It's still running all the same configurations, okay? But the only difference really is compared to the 8, and this has got 2048 shading units, right? So we go backwards to the 7600 XT, and it's got what? 2048 shading units. So, come on, guys. It's kind of jumping out in everybody's face what the deal is. So, I mean, 87 or so, almost 90%, double the compute units, yeah. 96 to 100 translates game clock difference about 10% tops. Actually, it's only about it's about maybe 1.75% in my books. Between the 7600 8 gigabytes and the 7600 XT 16 gigabytes. Okay, so all they did was they strapped on an extra 8 gigabytes and made it 16 gigabytes. That's all they really did. I mean, yes, the 70. Yes, I do agree with that. The 7700 XT is worth the price difference between the 7600 XT. It's, I mean, if you're going to pay $329 for a GPU, you might as well go up another $100 and get like what, 30, 40, 50% more? in performance. So you go from 7600 XT to the 77. Yep, you get about, let's just say about 33% more performance. So yeah, it's something to think about. Really, it is. It's something to really think about when it comes to, you know, what you want to buy. I mean, but if they're saying the 4070 is 50% faster, I mean, but that's 529, and I know everybody wants to stay in the price point, you know, of where, you know, where it's cheap enough, but you can still game with it and everything else. So we'll look at the 7700 XT. Okay, so let's go there. 449. Okay, so you take that, you get your rusty old calculator out, you go 329, and you minus it from the 449. You know, you hit minus and you go 449 equals, it's $120 difference for the price point of, where's it at? For the price, $120 difference for the price point, and going backwards. Let's see. Somewhere in about here. So for about 30%. Let me go backwards a little bit. So the 7600 XT and the 7700, 33%. So that's something to think about. I mean, if you got your calculator out, you know, you look at that 33, so you divide that by 33, you know. $3.63. Yeah. I'll tell you what, on the good side, that's not too bad if you're looking at long term, but the 7700 XT would be more viable. I'm just saying, it would look more viable. But the 7600 XT, I really don't see it, you know. I really don't see it. The only thing is when they were talking with PC World about future proofing, that's the kind of thing that, you know, what are they future proofing? Quality for quantity? Maybe. But from what I'm seeing, you know, I mean, you want to spend a couple more dollars, just go and get a 7800 XT, which everybody's sitting there now talking and saying the 7900 GRE is a lot faster than the 7800 XT. Well, yeah, duh. Of course it's going to be. It's the 7900. So, you know, that's what really blew my mind. But anyway, we're not going to scroll off of course here. We're going to stay on course. So my opinion about the 7600 XT, I don't foresee it being in somebody's future. Maybe if you're new and you want to start out on a cheap card, then 329 might be up in your wheelhouse. You know, if that's what you want for 16 gigabytes. So I do see it right into there. Yeah, like 30, 40, 50% more performance for a 7700 XE, maybe, but yeah. This is why I like the 7060 Ti. Well, I agree with you there. But I can tell you, you know, I mean, I got the 7800 XT. I tested it out and everything else. I don't think that's a bad card. But far as when it comes to any of the other cards, y'all know I'm going to have my perfect pick of it all. Okay. And Nvidia is going to have something cooking like they always do. So let's see what Nvidia has cooking. The 40 series super cards already came out in CES. So all we're doing is we're just taking a look on the performance, a little bit of the performance that it's showing for the, this right here. This is the 4080, the 4070, and the 4070 Super. All the Super Series cards, those, that 4070 Super might be something everybody wants to look at. Even though the price point's at $600 for the 4070 Super, I don't really see a viable point right now. Even though I got the 4070, I don't really see $550 being a viable point for the 4070. I really don't. I foresee the 4070 down to $479 US dollars. That's where I foresee the 4070. 4070 Super, sooner or later, be down to $550, $565, somewhere in there. If it's down to $550 for the 4070 Super, then AMD's got something to worry about. So AMD's got something to worry about. Oh, I'm not locked under the embargo thing. So I can put out whatever information I want on it, whatever I find out on the market, just to let everybody know what's going on in the market. So I'm just letting you know what Nvidia put out there for us for stats and everything else. This right here, they're saying, they're using the 3070. They should have used, the way they should have done this was they should have went from the 4070 Super to the 4070 to the 3070, would have been fine. It would have been fine. But this is the relative chart that they're giving with all the, like Alan Wake 2 with the 3070 and the 2070. I don't know why they would put the 2070 there. Like I said, the 4070 and the 3070 they should have put up in there, but they didn't. I don't know why. That would have been, because if you go to overlay the specs that they did for the 4070 and overlay it with the 4070 Super, you would see actually what the real deal is, truthfully. There were typical complaints about their benchmarks shown, yes. Yeah, I'm not complaining about it. They're benchmarks. That's what they're giving us. But, if we go and look for, let's say we go look for Nvidia RTX 4070 benchmarks, we could find the information, even if I go and look in images. Let's see, that's 2166. You can find out any benchmark you want. It's 2160. This is where no, not that benchmark. Jeez. We'll find it. Not that one. Okay, so let's look at this. Let's make this a little bit bigger. Okay. View file. Okay, this is the thing. If you go look at what they got for 1440p, usually you can see something. Okay, so let me get this. Let's say Alan Wake 2, right? Let's just go there. Alan Wake 2. We're looking at, they're saying 80 FPS, right? So that's on the 4070 Super. Okay, we go over here and we find Alan Wake 2. We don't find Alan Wake 2. But we find Cyberpunk 2077. Let's see. Cyberpunk 2077. They say about 105 FPS with ray tracing. Well, DLSS and ray tracing supported. Okay. Just follow along with me. So you say 107 for the Super, right? Let's go here. What's wrong with this picture right here? Oh. What's wrong with this picture? You're going to tell me that the Supers get the same performance as the 4070? There's something missing. Later on, I'm going to compare these charts that they're coming out with this new, and then what they put out for the last time charts for the same gen, and see what the difference is between the two. Okay, comparing their charts, not mine, not anybody else's, Nvidia's charts. Why is this saying Cyberpunk's the same as the 4070 is the same as the right here? Right here, it's black and white. It is black and white. So, let's see. 4070 Super, expected launch, less than 60 hours. Sleeping, cannot wait. Gotcha. I'll probably be napping too. There were typical complaints about the benchmarks. Yeah, I do agree. Nvidia said it is faster than 3090 and 1.5 times as fast with frame generation. Well, they say that, but I don't see that. And they're using, and this is the butt kicker, they're using the i9 12900K on 1440p like they did with the 4070. Same thing. It's still on Cyberpunk the same performance. It's on 1440p, both of those charts. Both of those charts are showing exactly the same. I'm not knocking Nvidia. Don't get me wrong. I am not knocking them. I am just trying to point out something. If you take some of their games and match it with the Super Series compared to the non-Super Series, I see a little bit of a problem. I see a big problem in a small pond right now. Why do you think they're hiding the fact of putting this against its predecessor and putting against that predecessor instead of putting it against what, the 3070? They haven't measured out to the 3070 Ti. Pricing shouldn't matter at this point between the 4070 Super, the 4070, and the 3070. So one's got the 4070 and the 4070 Super both got 12 gigabytes of VRAM. So there's what are you going to say about that? I mean, are you going to compare it with the 3070 that's got 8 gigabytes of VRAM? Look, here, I'll scroll up for you and I'll make this big. This is what they're making a comparison on. Here, I'll shrink my head too. There. I'll shrink my head a little bit. Look what they're making the comparison on. I mean, there, magic hand. Y'all see the magic hand right here? Magic hand. Tensor cores. 4070 Super 568. AI tops. 3070 163 AI tops. Second gen. That's third gen, fourth, third, and second. But, they don't say nothing about the 400 and something AI tops on the 4070. They don't say that. So that's something to think about. Well, I think like quantum computers. So the answer is that all those questions are to be left answered from the reviewers. Yeah. Too bad Nvidia's own benchmarks could be somewhat better. Yeah, I agree. They could be somewhat better, but doing a benchmark when you're trying to go from predecessor to predecessor, instead of price to price, they should be going from predecessor to predecessor to show the improvements that they're making from, day one to now through every one of the predecessors for this generation. But they don't. I see the 4070, I see the 3070, and I see the 2070. They should have went the 4070 Super, 4070, and 3070. And then the 2070. They should have put an extra one in there. It's called the 4070. To see you going from the last gen processor to this one. Okay. The key point to this is the 4070 and the 4070 Super, the 4070 Ti all share the same graphics processor. They all share the same GPU die. It's just different size. They all share the same. The 4070 Ti, 4070 Super, and the 4070 all share the same. Now, the 4070 Ti Super, the 4080, and the 4080 Super share the same. Figure that one out. So, knowing that, then all the things that the 4070 Super has is just chopped up from the 4070 Ti. So it's just chopped up a little bit from the 4070 Ti. That's all it is. So basically, you're not really getting much more or less. You think you're getting 10%, but in the long run, when you're going to play your AAA games and everything else, that's going to diminish really fast. So I'm not knocking. I'm hanging with the the Super Series. But looking at the 4070 Super, and it says right here, memory subsystem, 504 gigabits per second. So does the 4070. It's got I think it's got 504 right here. It's got 504. So in reality, the only difference I see is the 20 watt more TGP. They both got DLSS3. They both do AV1 264 encoding. They both have 12 gigabytes of GDDR6X VRAM. The AI tops are like 100. I remember now. It's 100 less. It's 468 compared to 568. Okay. Now you go from the 82 RT. I think you said 60, if I remember right. Something like that. And it's got 36 shaders on this one. I think that one's 32 or something like that. You can quote me later on it. We'll get past that point. But the only thing that's different is the amount of cores. The really big difference, and the power. Those are only two big for the 4070 and the 4070 Super. That's the $50 difference. That's why you're paying $550 for the 4070 and you're paying $600 for the 4070 Super. But going up to like the 4070 Ti Super to the 4070 Ti, that's got like a couple $100 in there. So, I mean, is it really worth it? I mean, by the charts, I'm looking at the charts, this is the chart for the 4070 Ti Super. I'm sure they band-aided it out. See, they put the 4070 Ti Super with the RTX 3070 Ti and the RTX 2070 Super. What'd they do with the 4070 Super? Using about the same crap. I don't get it. I really don't. They're not showing us anything new. And they're testing this stuff on Intel, the i9 12900K. How come they're not running it on the 14900K? The best of the best. How come they're not, is there something wrong with this picture? I mean, think about it. Is there something really wrong with this picture? I'm not knocking them. I got the 4070 in my PC, so I don't get it. I think the watts at idle video playback and gaming are so useless. Yeah, they are. I mean, you're going to sit on in between 15 and 20 watts sitting at idle. And then when you add something in like OBS or something like that, you're going to go up to like 32, 33 watts. And that's minuscule. That's just like, people don't really worry about it. What they really worry about is when they hit the 80 watt and 85 and go up to about 200 and some watts. Yeah, that's when they really worry. So, it's just, it doesn't make sense. I do agree with that. They spend their time so much on the things that are not needed for these graphics cards instead of worrying about what's really needed for the graphics cards. And that's AMD too. Don't get me wrong. That's AMD too. They do the same thing. I mean, they're not focused on bringing something new to the market. They're focused on doing a refresh for the market. The Super Series is nothing but a refresh. They even said between 3-5% for the 4080 to the 4080 Super and like 3 to 7% or something like that for the 4080 Ti and the 4080 Ti Super, which, I'm going to let you all know that it is official that the 4080 and the 4070 Ti is now discontinued by Nvidia. Nvidia discontinued those two GPUs. They're leaving the 4070 on the market for now, but those two GPUs are discontinued. They're not making any more of them, so don't expect it. So, and also too, I've been watching the market, and the price is starting to roll upwards like they did with the 4090. Now the 4080 is starting to roll up there in price. I think they jump about from $1,200 to $1,400 for the 4080. I was reading. That's crazy. Yeah, that's seriously crazy. I mean, a lot of people are, I'm going to tell you, it's like the 7600. A lot of people are going to be looking around for a better GPU for a lower price. And and I hear from everybody saying prices are going down, prices are going down. This is within the first month. Once these go out after 30 days, you know the price hike is coming. So do expect that. 4080 Super has a great new price. Yeah. Jeff Fisher said also, scalpers are more careful now, hopefully. Yeah, they're going to be scalping them, trust me. For the price point they're at, once they start scalping them, then the price hike comes in, because then you get Nvidia and AMD trying to bounce out the scalpers, and they're making the gaming community suffer over all this crap. They do this on purpose just to make a buck, and they cut out the gamers, the ones that really want to get these items, and it's just, it sucks. I'm sorry, it really does. It sucks. I wonder what resolution the FPS counts at the diagram. It's this one right here that I got on the screen. It's 1440p. This is what they're saying at 1440p max settings with DLSS and RT on in the game that supports it. That's what they're saying right here. With the i9 12900K. Why are they running it with the i9 12900K, which does not make sense? You would think that you're trying to take your best GPUs and trying to showcase them off of the best processor that's on the market today. I don't get it. I'm sorry, that's just my feeling. I'm just going to speak out my feelings. You know, I don't get it. They got processors that are way faster, but they use, you know, what, 2 generations ago? I just want to know why. I mean, is there something that the 13900K don't have that 12900K does? Or is there something that the 14900K doesn't have that the 12900K has? Is it because the 12900K is better compatible with Windows 10? Or they don't even put what Windows they operated this off of, Windows 11 or Windows 10. So, you know, it's just not making sense. I mean, I'm being honest with you guys, it's just not clicking with me. Okay? It is not clicking with me. Let's do the 4080 Super. Okay, let's look at that really quick. 48 Super. Look. i9 12900K. I wish I could blow that up more for you. But that's i9 12900K at 4K max settings with DLSS and RT on games that support it. That's what they say. Okay, so let me read up on, see what you guys are talking about. 4K maybe, Cyberpunk 2077, 4070 Ti, 4K Ultra 23 FPS to 97 FPS with DLSS 3 and frame generation. Okay, well, yeah. But they're saying here, they're saying over 120 something. There's something wrong with that. There's something wrong with this. I don't know. It's just a feeling I have. Let's see. True. There aren't any bad GPUs, only bad prices. Right on. You got it right. Roman says, hello, that's why the FPS is so high. Well, no, the FPS is so low. Oh, I got a scratch, dude. That now, I'm gonna break it. I'm gonna break it. I forgot to fix that. Oh, my bad. Listen, to me, the FPS is low. Okay, when they're only hitting 100, at that part of 100 FPS. No, man. I want to see 200 to 300 FPS. I want them to put it full scale. I want them to put everything out on the table and get 200 to 300 FPS. I want these things to scream, giving you the best performance that you can get for the price you paid for it. And you didn't pay peanuts for the 4070, I bet. You didn't pay peanuts for the 4080 or the 4090. You didn't pay peanuts for the 4070 Super when it comes out, and the 70 Ti Super and the 70 or the 80 Super. Okay, you're not paying peanuts. They have to understand that. If they take 50 to $100 off, they feel like, ooh, I'm giving you something. You ain't giving me shit. Ugh. So that's how you got to look at it. Yeah, but the point, MTBK, listen to me. The point is this, okay? The 12900K back then was the thing, but programs and software has updated since then. So the 12900K does not make it a viable processor. It does, and if you want to do your own testing that way, but to me, it's not viable enough for the processor to be running, let's say, a 4080 Super. You go run, it's like everybody tells me, well, then why don't you go down and take and get the i9 9900K and run the 4080 Super off of it? You're not going to do that because it's going to bottleneck the CPU and the GPU is going to starve. So why not balance it right in between and put it with the 13900K? Price point wise, what, $50, $75 more on the CPU? I don't get it. You got all the motherboard, all the technology in the world and everything else. You test your GPUs on an i9 12900K. It's just, it's ridiculous. It's super ridiculous to me. Maybe because better comparison. Did they use the same patch for the games as well? Probably yes. This would be surprising. Too bad if I did not check the facts on that, but reviews are incoming. It is either software updates, better DLLs, implementation, or 1440K versus 4K resolution. Well, the deal with between going from 1080p to 1440p to going to 2180 or 2190p or something like that, 4K. Okay, the difference between as you go up, going from 1080p to 1440p, you lose FPS. You go from 1440p to 4K, you lose FPS. So your GPU now struggles because your CPU can't keep up with the fact of running 4K because there's a little bit of a share that you're going to need a more powerful CPU to help support the GPU, to push it up into the 60 to the 100 FPS range. Okay, so if you're really going to support, your GPU very well, then give it the best processor you can. Oh, that's right, because they put the 4090 against the 7800X3D, and the 7800X3D started to bottleneck the 4090. That I heard too. I don't know if y'all heard that, but I did. So, 1 versus 1700 times, 4 times the number of pixels. And poor i9 12900K. Well, it's in a technical view. Roman says, I want to see the GPU die of heat in low FPS, not games you can play on a toaster with any technical features. Well, the thing is this. Okay. When I bought the Asus Dual RTX 4070, the one with the 8-pin connector, mine's not a toaster. Mine will run all day on games at 62C. So will my processor. So my computer is no longer a toaster because the way I have it set up. I've said this many a times. You set it up right in the BIOS for your processor and your RAM. And then when it comes to your GPU, you set it just right. Everything will work in harmony. It's not hard. So you just have to learn that balance, that you can balance your whole system out, because if it's in an imbalance, then you're going to lose FPS. You're not going to have enough to play your games. You're going to have game stuttering. You're going to have, artifacting and stuff like that, because you can't balance your processor and your RAM and your graphics card on the motherboard. So if you can't balance any one of those, then, take it to somebody that can balance it for you. It's very vital. Toaster in terms of low performance, like a potato, not a toaster in terms of high heat output. Well, the only reason it has high heat output is the case you bought for your PC parts, that if the airflow has been, restricted for, going into the front way like this, and you got your 3 fans, and, you don't have that decent amount of airflow coming in as well as going out, and you don't have some kind of positive pressure bringing it in and having the same amount of pressure going out for your negative, then basically it's not going to do it in like a big swoop like that. That's the way you want it. You want it to come in and swoop up like this. So this way it covers the motherboard. It cools off your VRMs and everything else. You want it to come in a swoop. And also, too, it puts a little added coverage of giving your GPU, your CPU. If you got your CPU on an AIO cooler, then that's a different story, but it'll still give that added coverage of that airflow coming through, and it'll still, cool the processor down in 2 different ways. The 2 different ways is 1 by the radiator and 2 by the open air coming through your system. So if you don't have enough airflow coming from the front going out the back, then basically, you're going to have a toaster, because it's going to keep it at 84, 85, 90, 95 degrees Celsius. So worry about your case first. See how much positive and negative airflow you got coming through that before you decide to change anything else. Always look at your case to make sure it's right. But if it's not right, then you might want to think about a different case. So this way you can get positive airflow going through there. I mean, be honest with you, I mean, if you don't have it, I mean, it's just, I mean, I paid $100 for this case I got over here. This is a Mustex case. Trying to remember the numbers. I'll tell y'all in a minute what the numbers are, or I'll post it and let y'all know. But this case right here, I thought having this little piece of glass in front was going to restrict the airflow. I was wrong about this. And I can admit that. I was wrong. It's got grooves that's opened up. It's got grooves that are opened up in the front. And it allows the same amount of airflow as if nothing was there. I'm happy with that. I'm happy with that that test. Y'all don't hear no noise in my room. See, that's the thing. I got these fans on my PC case going at 100%. 100%. The GPU's running at 80% airflow. It's running at 80%. So, and you guys don't even hear the fans. So that's good. I'm happy with that. No need to worry about the companies. People can wait until they feel much more comfortable buying. Yep. But some of the new GPUs look beautifully. Yeah, they do. They do. I admit they do. Especially the one that they did. What was it? The 4070, if I remember right. Let me see if they did a picture on it. Geez. I'll show you guys a picture that I found about it. Let's see. Let's see. I mean, I take and save pictures of everything. So, you know. Let's see. I know I got that picture somewhere. I mean, my computer is so full of pictures. I'm going to end up having to buy another hard drive just for all the pictures I have. This that's just plain crazy. You know, where is it at? Oh, that's right. Duh. I'm sitting there looking on AMD. I should be looking at Nvidia. Alrighty. Don't judge me, y'all. Trying to find something's like pulling, you know, there it is. We'll go ahead and we'll get it all looking about here. Okay, let's dive into the action screen. Okay, you wanted to look at the picture. I think this one right here, to be honest with you, this one right here is like the wild one. I guess this is done by MSI. MSI did this one. Oh, this is all MSI, believe it or not. This is all MSI. I have to find one for Asus and all them too. So, but this really looks cool. And you know, on top of that, the airflow goes through that on top of it. You know, the airflow goes straight through it. Vex made fun video about it. His friend said TVGA died because they could not keep up with Yeston, and then showed a picture at average EVGA graphics card looking like a brick. Looks like an air conditioner. Oh my God. Yeah, it kind of does, doesn't it there, Roman? Oh my God. I didn't even think of that. I mean, until you said something, I mean, wow. I mean, that's like the end up wow factor. But I can tell you what I don't like about these. And they should have kept with the 4070 Super. They should have put two 8-pin connectors on it instead of putting that 12-volt connector on it. That high power connector, I would think, they would have done a better job at that. So, you would think they would have done a better job at that connector. I mean, this is what they're going to give you for, their flagship. So this is what you get for flagship, the 4080 Super, just like the other flagship ones if you're looking for a flagship. So if you're looking for a 4080, I'll tell you what, I'm not. You're best off, like they were saying before, and I'm going to bring my face back up. I know y'all are looking at that, but I'm going to bring my face back up. Okay. They were saying that the 4070 Super is meeting almost the same performance as the 4070 Ti. That makes you wonder. It makes you really wonder about the 4070 Super. Is it just as good as the 4070 Ti? Some people are saying that. So they say the best one right now out of all the Super series is the 4070 Super. So because of the performance wise, it gives you, some reviewers say 10%, some say 13, some say 14, some say 12. It's a mixed bag of tricks. I'm going to tell you, it's 7 to 10%, period. That's easily can be proven. I mean, if I were to put the Super Series 4070 Super in my PC and treat it just the same way I did the 4070 I have here, I'll end up getting the same amount of performance I just told you all. So I don't foresee it, 4070 Super really being something that I'm looking into. Maybe in the future, if I'm doing, when I'm doing testing and stuff like that, yeah. But you know how that goes. MSI 4080 Super Big Booze GPUs. They have anime, waifu GPUs and robot furry ones. Most designs can be soon on video cards and tech power up. Yep, that's what I'm waiting for. Roman says 7 to 10% is only an overclock for me. Well, it is for me too. But if you really think about it and you look at what they say for the performance, and this is what kills me. Because that's not what I'm getting off of my 4070. Even at 1080p. Where's that? Let's see. If they got any games that I play in here. Let's see. In another couple weeks, I'm going to get myself Cyberpunk 2077. I'm just going to end up busting out and doing it. But I'm going to tell you, if I were to run the performance on the Super Series compared to the one I have here, I would only see the Super Series getting like 7 to 10%. I mean, that's it. I don't really see it getting much more, is because they cut it down to a certain point. Then you're going to lose performance when they cut it down from the 4070 Ti down and took off a couple thousand cores and strapped it up on an old 4070 Ti. The one they discontinued. It's common sense. That's what they did. They repurposed the 4070 Ti. So 4070 Ti Super might look like tough enough deal, and versus a cheaper 7800 XT, would also could be nicely, versus a 7900 XT, somewhat, and sometimes the 7900 XTX. Okay. Don't forget about the 7900 GRE too. Add that in, because now it can be bought as a single card, but it can be bought over in somewhere in Europe. You can buy the cards now and get it shipped to the United States. So the thing is that somebody already in the couple reviewers in the United States already got the 7900 GRE, and they're talking about that it's like it should be considered that the 7900 GRE should be considered as they did for the 7800 XT. That's what they say. And the 7800 XT should only have been a 7800. So, hello, Shadow. Welcome to the stream. Yeah, there's only like 400 and some, 512 or so. Yeah, 1/15th. But that's what they tell you it is. Okay, that's what it's going to report. But truthfully, it's not. I mean, if it's closer, and if you think about it, and you look at the charts for the 4070 Ti and see the performance gain in the 4070 Ti, right? Compared to the 4070. And then compare your numbers for the Super Series and see how close it is. That's going to determine if the 4070 to the 4070 Super is going to be viable. Or if the 4070 to the 4070 Ti, if the 4070 is going to be worth $550. So I really don't think that, truthfully, I'm happy with the 4070, but I don't need the extra performance, because even if I got those AAA games, I can still play them regardless. So I don't need the extra performance. RX 7600 XT is a newer AMD version of the 4060 Ti. I overclocked my RX 67 XT from 2400 megahertz to 2860 for only 15 degrees Celsius more. It runs now max at 69C in my ITX case at gaming. If no games, who needs? Okay, well, with an ITX case, that's not too bad. That's not too bad from a full case, I can tell you that. That's only like maybe 7-degree difference from my case. But that's not bad for an ITX case, and that's like, that's compact. I mean, you got everything compact in there, So, I mean, awesome to hear that, man. Really awesome to hear that. That you got, a banger of a PC. I'm wanting to learn all about PCs and stuff, like the stuff to build. I am wanting, and Shadow, you're saying this, I am wanting to get a gaming PC, but I only got like 500 pounds budget. It's not like UK, but do you think the PC would still be decent? Well, let's think. How much is 500 pounds compared to US dollars? Let's start there. what, 576 or some kind of dollars like that. So, you know, if you put it around an average of 600 US dollars, you can get a decent PC for 600 US dollars, if that's what you're wondering. I mean, they got this. I mean, you could even put the 7600 XT in there. I know everybody's going to hate me for when I'm saying this, but it's got 16 gigs of RAM, you know, and they claim it does what all it does. And then you strap it to a B550 motherboard, you know, that's like $119, something like that. And you get a processor like the 5800 X3D for $3 something. So let's do the math on that. I mean, was it like $330 for the 5800 X3D? So we say $330, and then we add in 119 for the motherboard, and then we add in the RAM, which is going to be another, say, for 32 gigs, about just average about 60. So, and, you know, an SSD drive, M.2 drive, you're probably looking at about 50. So, in truth and all reality, it's only at 559. If you got a case, if you got your own previous PC case that's running really well for you, and you got like a 750 watt power supply in that case, then, you know, you can take all those parts out and then put all the new parts in, you know. And if you got an M.2 SSD on that, if it's like you're going from AMD to AMD or Intel to Intel, then, you know, you won't have a problem, I don't think so. But for 600 bucks, I mean, you can get a lot for 600 bucks. If you don't have to buy the case, the fans, the power supply, the air cooler or water cooler that you got, you know, I don't foresee that you have to spend like maybe 3 or maybe 4. Well, you know, for something decent, you know, about $500-600 bucks, you know. I mean, where can you go wrong with that? I always learn the factor of repurposing my cases, because you can do this with your PC case. You can turn around, clean it all up, you know, make sure, you know, you alcohol wipe it down and everything else. You can take and prime it, repaint it to whatever color you want, make it whatever style you want. You know, you can do many things with your PC case. And then after you get it all done, and then, you know, if it's a full ATX case, then you can put an ATX motherboard in it. Have fun with it, you know. AM4 PC costs 700 to 1,000 euros. AM5 is like 1,000 to 1,500. Yeah, that depends on where you buy it. But the good deal is, if you learn to repurpose some of your parts, they will work better for you. It will. I mean, if you want to save money, you just want to repurpose, then you can repurpose everything to save yourself a little bit of cash. You know, I mean, when I upgraded mine, I repurposed my power supply. I repurposed I put my RAM with a different PC, but anyway, you know, I repurposed my GPU and, you know, my fans. So I got a new case. I went from air cooler to AIO cooler. So my whole PC, all in all, doing my upgrade, was only about maybe $1,372 US cash. So But mine's got the RTX 4070. It's got the AM4, the 5700X. It's got 64 gigs of RAM. It's got the AIO cooler. It's got 6 remoted fans. All my fans are on a remote control right here. So, I mean, I got an Asus motherboard. It's a B550. It's a Strix. So, yeah. I mean, I'm happy with mine. Mine's banger, so I'm happy with it. ITX, if you wanted to go ITX is a little more expensive than ATX. I just want to bring this up really carefully. ITX is way more expensive because it's a lot smaller. Okay. So the parts are going to be more costly. But if you go like a MATX motherboard or ATX, MATX is not too bad. I got a motherboard that's MATX. So my PC with all in, it costs $1,400, but compare USA with Germans, not that easy. Yeah, I know it's not that easy, but at the end of the day, if you built it yourself, to me, it makes a PC worth $5,000. No matter what you put into the PC, if you put in like little to barely anything into the PC, you put something to make it better. So when you improve that PC, you're putting your ideas and making it better overall. So do like I do, and I always tell everybody this: when you buy your parts, buy it carefully, one at a time. What you want to upgrade, buy it one at a time, put it off onto the shelf, let it sit there until you get all the pieces, and then after that, take it all down, put it all together, and bam, you're up and off to the race. So that's basically how I did mine in the beginning. I started off on a Dell PC, Optiplex 980. It's got an i5 2400 processor. Yeah. Going from that to this is kind of a big difference. So going on to like eBay, buying yourself a $200 PC or like a $50 or $100 PC, or if you want to buy a Dell or something that's got DDR4, I mean, long as it's got a great processor, can always add more RAM, slap a graphics card in it, boom. Now you're done cut your cost in half. If you pay $50 to $100 for it, and then you pay $350 for a graphics card, now you're down to $450. So, but that's it. That will come with the, Windows 10 probably. But you want a PC that has a processor in it, which Microsoft will allow you to go to Windows 11. Like I always tell everybody, always stay with Zen 3 processors, and always stay with 8th gen on Intel or higher. And you can get Windows 11 with that. So you don't have to go through the headache of not knowing where to start when it comes to the processors or anything else. Start on that baseline and then work your way forward. Anything behind that, I wouldn't even touch it. It's not worth the money buying stuff that's lower than that. Anything that's on Zen 3 or higher is great. Anything that's on 8th gen Intel or higher is great. So you want to keep yourself away from the lower end to where you only can get up to Windows 10 and then it stops there. And then you end up having to buy another PC just to go to Windows 11. I got a B450 motherboard from Asus, B450. And it goes to Windows 11. That's a B450 motherboard. And then you run that with integrated graphics. You know, you can run it with the 5700G. That motherboard. And guess what? You'll still get good gaming. People are surprised that you can get PCIe 4.0 off of the iGPU, but you plug in a discrete graphics card, you only get 3.0. You know, people don't know that. That's the difference. So, Windows. Oh, I hate Windows for Windows 11 because a bug up and yeah. Why do you think I'm still on Windows 10? Yeah, I agree with you 100%. Windows 11 is getting some bad reputation right now. I got you. Some people do. They like Linux more than Windows. I've been running Windows ever since Windows 3.1 to now. Okay. I went from Windows 3.1. That's back in the day. The 3.1 of years and years and years ago. Up to Windows 10. I didn't go to Windows 11 yet. So I've seen all those operating systems going from 3.1 all the way up to Windows 10. All the operating systems. So, you know, it kind of makes you think about, some people tell me, oh, I'd rather go back to Windows 7. And I'm saying, yeah, so would I. But they don't got Windows 7 cranked up anymore. They done discontinued a lot of things. Even Steam got disconnected off of Windows 7. So, it'd have been nice. It would have been nice. But do remember, your older PCs, they do have programs out there if you want to keep, your PC alive. They do got other programs out there, like your Android programs. They got some free Android programs out there as well. Linux will support your PC for another 10, 20,000 years, because they're all open sourced. Linux is an open source program. So not like Windows. Windows is more or less like, different kind of base program. So, but I don't know. Okay, now we looked at the Super Series. I wasn't too impressed with it. Let me move this out of the way. I really wasn't impressed with the Super Series. I mean, don't get me wrong. I just think it's a mixed bag. I just think it's a really mixed bag right now. I'm going to wait until they come up with a better generation. Like, let me read that back. Yeah, all those artificial ecosystems are annoying. Yeah, all your AI ecosystems. Let me get my 7600 XT out for you, buddy. It's got AI on it. Does yours? Yeah, right. And this is where people get lost if they don't know, but I'm going to tell you all this. I'm going to say it for the thousandth of times I've already tried to say it, and I've said it. So, 40 series. Any 40 series card on Nvidia is already proven to be AI future-proofed. Just to let you know, point blank. The tensor cores on any one of the 40 series cards are good enough to run for AI. So, and when you go to look at the 7600 XT, yeah, kind of think about it, if it's future proofed. I don't foresee that the bus on it's future proofed. I think that it's going to be like a card that's going to be like a hot box. So basically it's going to sit in your PC, heat up and blow up. That's the way I'm thinking. So I don't know. That's just my opinion. Roman says, I go from DOS to Windows 95, 98, 98, second edition, 2000. Don't forget about the 2000 Enterprise version too. And there's another 2000 version. Oh, that said 2000s. Okay, I got it. XP, Vista, Win 7. Yeah. Windows 8, 8.1. Oh, you forgot the unreleased Windows 9. There are very few people that were able to get their hands onto the unreleased Windows 9, from what I heard. So, Windows 10 up to Windows 11 to Linux. Thanks, Microsoft, for 30 years. Bug and anger. I don't blame you for saying that. I do not blame you for saying that whatsoever. Yeah. It's all been a mixed bag, hasn't it? Thinking about back all the way from Windows 3.1 to now, it's been a really bad mixed bag. It's like it's refresh after refresh after refresh. It's like there was nothing new. They just changed the name, and moved it up in the world. And, there it is. That's the way I feel, guys. That's the way I feel. I'm sorry. That's just my feelings. True enough. Okay, let's do a little bit more research. Okay, back to the action screen. This is the AMD Ryzen 7 8700G, the new one coming out. That's supposed to be out already, I guess. Who knows? 8 core, 16 threads, 65 watts, 4.2 gigahertz base clock frequency, boost clock, 5.1 gigahertz. Its code name is Phoenix. So, and it says all blah, 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 blah. It's $329. Comes with the Wraith Spire cooler. It's not like it's worth anything. I know I got about 2 of them here. I just keep them on the side in case I build like a tiny little computer. Like an ITX or something. I mean, it's supposed to be on January 31st. My bad. So it's not released yet. Supports DDR5. And this is the thing. Rated speed, 5200 MTs. You go to 6000, you go anything over 6200 MTs. That processor is not going to work for you. I just hear that. And it's got specific motherboards too. It's got 16 megs of L3 cache. Well, so does the 5600G. Come on. Yeah. 5600G gets all this right here too. But 5600G only goes up to 21, if I remember right, 2100 megahertz. This one goes up to 29 megahertz. Okay, but it gets everything else the same as the 5600G. Yeah. I mean, it's got the same amount of L3. I mean, come on. No, Roman, Windows 9 was not a joke. They were actually going to put Windows 9 out. But there was some hiccups with it, and so they didn't put it out. So they just left it as a preview copy. And just, kept it off to the side, and some people, I guess, got their hands on it, whatever. But it was not a joke. There was actually supposed to be Windows 9. I thought it was a joke, too, when they first said it, but not from the channels I heard it, from the sources I heard it from. Totally different ball game. So, if you're looking to get the 8700G, like I was talking to MTBK about, go right here. Get you a 13700K. Just saying. For $40 more. It's got 300 more megahertz. The TDP's kind of around the same ballpark. 3.4 gigahertz to 5.4. That's a good spread. I didn't fall off the horse yet, so y'all better understand that. Now, this CPU was $409 launched. So it's underpriced right now. And it looks like it would be a really good viable solution to compared to the 8700G. To me, I feel it would be. I know y'all are going to tell me, no, it's not, no, it's not, no, it's not. I already know you're going to say it, so, I mean, I went to PC Part Picker, look at the price. The 3700. It's $364. So, let's move it up and see what we really get. Yeah. That's if we want something like that. We can get, for a cheaper price, I mean, but you're looking at 5.1 gigahertz. You got the 13600 at $283.99, right? $284. Okay. So you got, for the price point, I mean, that's all up to you guys, whatever you want to do. Okay. But I can tell you, in my opinion, the 8700G is just not going to be viable. Especially when a 1660 or 1660 was it GTX? Is it GTX 1660? I keep getting these names mixed up. Y'all are going to have to help me out with that one. So I think it's a GTX 1660 rolls higher than this. Rolls higher than the 8700G. So, but for the price point that they're having, the $320 some dollars, I really don't feel as viable. GTX, yeah, 1660. Thank you. I appreciate that. Like I said, I mean, if you're going to use the 8700G, you're just going to use the processor. Because I can tell you when it comes to the integrated graphics, you're not going to use it. Because you're not going to like the speed of it. You're going to end up setting your display settings for your games up too high, and it's going to stutter and everything else. It's just going to give you a bunch of mixed bag of problems. So, also some RTX 3050 have the smaller 80-107 die. Yeah, they do. Now, and they reduced the price. Yep. But you're looking at one processor with two functions. You're looking at one processor with integrated graphics, and you're looking at a processor being a regular CPU processor. So, but like I told you, 13700's got a APU on it as well. So you can get integrated graphics on a 13700 for a little bit more, but get better performance, I think, than this 8700 is going to put out. So, alrighty. Also, some RTX, yeah, we are 115 watts versus former 130 watts. So it stacks up nicely versus a GTX 1660, but most people prefer the 6600 at that point. Yeah, they would. Oh, I know. I got one too, Roman. I got one. I got a 5600G myself. You know, I mean, I've tested it. I've ran it for, a whole year and never had any issues on the games I play. So I do agree with you there. But some people just don't want a dedicated GPU. Maybe the 8700G will be very efficient. Well, you know what? It could be. I'm not knocking it just yet because I didn't test it just yet. I'm just giving my opinion on the variables and giving my opinion on the specifications I've been seeing, and other people getting their opinions as well. Right now, my opinions are kind of up in the air at this point about it, but from what I'm seeing, I don't know. I mean, 1650X, or is it 1650 they said it's equal to? I don't know. The day I see them have integrated graphics just as strong as a regular discrete graphics card, that's going to be a different ball of wax. That's going to be a different story altogether. I want to see if they ever come up with a 4090 in integrated graphics on a processor. That's what I want to see. If they make that accomplishment, they got my attention. But I'm sure you're not going to pay $3,000. Well, yeah, you do, because if you got a Threadripper, you would pay the same amount anyway. So, yeah, I mean, crazy like that, Yeah, they try to compare the 780M versus a GTX 1650 or a GTX 1060. I look at it this way. For the AM4 users that use integrated graphics, here's a point to you. If you're using the 5600G right now, if you want a little bit better graphics, but not so much the cost, you might want to look at the 5700G. I know that's like a little bit step forward, but that's got 8 cores, 16 threads versus 6 core, 12 threads. So that might be a processor you might want to look into And I think it's got a little bit more cache as well. And plus, it does a little bit better on video performance. So, and I've gotten a lot of opinions about the 5700G. So, I don't have nothing bad to say about it. From what I've seen and me running the 5600G, I have nothing bad to say about either one. So, that's just how that rolls. But if you got a 5600G and you put it on a B550 motherboard, or, you know, like B550 or greater, and you got 64 gigs of RAM allocated to the motherboard for the PC, you know, for the processor and the rest, whatever you want to do with it, you know, then I'll tell you what, that 5600G is going to squeal like crazy. It's going to scream. So, for $229, the 8600G has performed nicely versus a 5700G. Yeah, but you missed the point. MTBK, you're missing the point. You're missing the point. And I'm going to tell you why. Some people don't want to take and spend that extra couple $100 to go up on the platform. Okay? They really don't. They rather have something simple right there, just a plug and play, you're off to the race kind of thing. You know, if you pull out one processor, you put in a new processor, and you don't have to change motherboard, RAM, or anything else. What are you going to do? You're going to spend that less amount of money. So, yeah, I know it's kind of putting into like, you know, well, why don't you go up to the next, you know, next gen and upgradability that way. Well, I hate to tell you this. There are some processors that have been going for, what they say. There's processors out there that people are still buying that are 16 years old, that are still viable for gaming. So either way you look at it, no matter what the age is on the processor, it's still a processor. And it still will give you just as good performance as it did the first day as it does now. So, let's see. I see no reason to pay $300, $350 for 10 or 15 more FPS. 90 FPS from an ultra ray tracing is enough for me. There you go. That's all that matters. Whatever makes you happy. That's what you got to understand. With your PC, whatever makes you happy, and it's made you happy all this time, then stick with it. You know. But later on down the road, when something better comes out, you know, I'm going to say it like this. Save your dollars up. Something better off comes down the road that you see and you really want, that you want to make that change. Then you'll have that little bit of a nest egg, so that way, you know, you can go and purchase whatever you want. That's kind of what I do. I take and turn around and save a little bit of coffee money here or there, putting it into a jar. And then when it gets filled up and then I got enough and new gen rolls around, there I go. I'll end up buying me something that's new gen. I really don't want nothing from I don't really want nothing from the AM5 series. I'd rather go up the next series and go to AM6, you know, and see what they got cooking then. But mine will be good for now. Zen 3 will be good for me for now. If I want a different processor, they got, what, 80, I think they said about 86 different processors that you can plug into this motherboard. Just this motherboard. So, I mean, can't beat it. Yeah, the platform cost difference was shocking, especially when AM5 Zen 4 released. Yeah, when it released and I heard people having problems, I was like, no, I'd rather stay on Zen 3 AM4 until the problems subside. And then when I see them subside, then that's a different story. But you look at the Zen 3 AM4 platform, it's been around what, 9.5 years? Think about it. It's already been perfected. It's already been tested. It's already been seasoned with all the drivers and everything else. And it still keeps up with some of those AAA games. Why would you jump to that next platform when that's having a bunch of problems as it is? Why would you jump over something that, you got right in front of you that's running great? I don't get it. So now it still makes a bit enough difference, supposedly. To some people it does. To me, it doesn't make any sense to go up to AM5 just yet. Because with the processor I got, if I want to get more performance, I can always go to the 5800 X3D, and then that'll bring me up to almost close to the same performance as the 7800 X3D, which everybody talks about, that's on top of the list. Now, if you look on some of the other reviewers' channels and, they do the review on between the 5800 X3D and the 7800 X3D, it's still busting chops. 5800 X3D is still busting chops. So think about it, Right now, I see 142 different CPUs for the Intel socket. And if you add the T version, tray version, and everything. Well, that's 1700. I'm talking about the AM4 series, man. There are some CPUs that, that didn't go to market, but if you buy them used, they do have them on eBay. So there are some CPUs you can buy on eBay that never went to market. Do remember that. There's some CPUs out there that never made it to market, but they sell them on eBay because they like making a couple bucks. So if you're looking for Intel or something like that, there's plenty of Intel for a decent price. My old AM4 PC dies on water, and AM5 was hard with 900 euro for the ITX boards at the end. Buying again AM4, I'm happy with it. I don't blame you. I'd be happy with it too. Hey, just like I said a few minutes ago, I'm happy with AM4. There's many upgrades that you can still do. You can still buy low cost RAM. You can, because that's where the key features comes in. This is where you look at your motherboard, you look at all these key features, like how much more can I go up on the frequency of the RAM? How much higher can I go? That's one. And two, the processor, how more high can you go? And like with your SSD, your solid state drive, how much more terabytes can I add to get a petabyte on my PC? And can my PC run 1 petabyte of hard drive space? Which all PCs should be able to do that. So, but, there are many things that your PC can do. Like AAA games. Let's say you run Cyberpunk 2077, right? And you set it up just right, and you got an Nvidia video card. You got yourself the 4080 Super. You're happy and go lucky. You just plug everything in, and then boom, you're like running at like 120, 150, 170 FPS at 4K, and you're loving life. So that means you got yourself a perfect PC. So, just saying. Right here, I can buy 74 different AM4 CPUs, 5600X3D not included. Oh, which one is it? No, that's not the one. Let's move that over. Let's move that over. Let's move that over. Let's move this over. Let's move that over. We're moving a lot of overs. Oh, you're talking about this one. You're talking about this one right here, right? The 5600X3D? I got it. I had to. I mean, I drove a total of 12 hours getting that damn thing. 12 hours. That sucked. I am scared of water-cooled PCs, not gonna lie. I don't blame you, man. I do not blame you at all. Right here, I can buy some. Well, you know, there are some processors out there that are not totally published to the public that you can get your hands on to. So that's the reason why I said 80 something. Okay, that was just an estimate of what I felt that was out there on the market right now. So what's on the actual market, yeah, I can agree with you on that. But what's not on the market, that's what people can't get their hands on. If they go on eBay, they probably get a bunch of them on eBay, so you never know. Alrighty. So my first question is any one of y'all thinking about buying yourself a 4070 Super Series card? Yes or no? Just throw it in the chat. Is any one of you looking to buy an 8700G series processor? Throw it in the chat if you are. Anybody looking to buy, let's say, the 5700X3D that's going to be coming out anytime soon? Let me know. Let me know your thoughts on all this. And the 7600 XT, what do you all think about it? Is it viable enough for you to buy at $329 or not? Let me know your thought. Oh, so you went to Roman, you went to Micro Center and got yours? That was a long line. I was waiting for mine. You had a long line out the door. Ooh, Lordy. So, I got mine, luckily. Because they said limited supply, and I said, okay, well, you know, it's limited supply. Oh, God. How many times y'all hear that in 1 year? Think about it. How many times have you heard that in 1 year? We only got a limited supply. That's like almost every 2 weeks? No builds planned for 2024. Might be interesting to get some for some friends, but personally, not a chance. Yeah, that's basically how you do it, man. You get your friends involved, then you turn around and tell them, well, it's going to cost $1,500 to get it. And they look at you, how are you going to get it? Oh, you're going to give it to me. I'm going to build it for you and give it back to you. They'll look at you crazy like, what? They're like, really? Yeah. Well, you got to tell them, you know, there's labor cost, There's electricity cost, there's mental cost, there's office cost, and you go on and on and on. And you give them like a list of 50 different things that they're not paying for. You'd be like, oh, that's a deal. Okay. I had to throw that in there really quick. Somebody was telling me that the other day. So when you're going to buy your PC parts, shop very wisely. Watch who you're buying from. Make sure it's a very responsible vendor that you're buying from. Don't buy it from somebody you don't know. Always remember, if you buy something off of Amazon, buy it directly from their warehouse. Don't buy it anyplace else, these other little off-wall things, because you'll lose your money. They'll pack up their bags and they'll go to somebody else and they'll go to some other email address and then start it all over again. It's what they've been doing. So don't get scammed, because there's a lot of scammers going on right now. And the scalpers for eBay, they're ramping things up to be, as soon as these new GPUs come to market, they're already looking to buy them out. As you know, AMD's only going to make probably 125,000 of them, and Nvidia is only going to make about 125,000 of each one of those. They're not going to make that many, because they already told everybody, if everybody would have listened, that they're limited on the chips. They're limited on their chips. So this means they're not even going to be able to, they'll probably be able to fill this quota. But when it comes to the next quota, they're going to have a hard time getting chips. Everything's on the crunch right now when it comes to the computer chips because of China. So if R7 5700 X3D or 5800 X3D is cheaper, 5700 X3D is going to be at least, I think, about $100 cheaper than the 5800 X3D. But performance-wise, the 5700 X3D is going to be equaled up to, let's say, a 7600X or a 7700, somewhere in there. And the 5800 X3D is going to be equaled up to 7800 X3D or the 7800X. So it's going to be up in between there. So if you want to know my opinion, for $100 more to go from like probably 10 to 15% more performance, going from the 5700 X3D to the 5800 X3D, I don't know. That's kind of a shaky kind of thing to go in between the two. I mean, I got the 5600 X3D for $229. So you see a pattern now. $229, $329, and three something. But you know what? You know what's worth? Today, after 2 weeks delay, they delivered a keyboard I was missing. They failed to deliver a tie clip, though. I will make a support ticket or chat with them directly. Good for you, man. Don't be taking your equipment now, you hear? That's what you tell them. Don't take my equipment. I look every time at a new build, at a bottleneck calculator, and then I look at prices and other hardware with near the same power, and buy cheaper or better ones, bang for the buck. Yeah, I do agree with that. That's basically what I do. I wait to see what's going to give me the best bang for the buck. My system right here I put together, I think is the best bang for the buck, because if you take the price that I paid for this one here and take it back to the 1980s, you're looking at a system like this back then, you're looking at about $10,000 to $12,000. So back then to now, you know, I mean, that's a deal. I mean, you know, I got a really good deal on all the parts I got. So you can't beat that. But if you got a system that already gives you the best bang for the buck, there's no sense in changing it right now. Because when it looks like this generation I think is a little bit screwed up compared to maybe everybody waiting until the next generation comes out. Because with Intel, them stopping the LGA 1700 motherboards and going to a new generation with a new motherboard, that's going to be one thing. Now that AMD, they're already ramping up to put out the 9000 series for their processors, because they're going to put out the 8000 series, as they said the 8000 series is going to be just the G series. So they're going to put out the 9000 series for desktops. They already had that talk about that. So, and they're having discussion about stopping at the 9000 series and then starting a whole new upgrade for a new platform. It's already been in the works of the talks about that, just to let you know that. With 10,000 to 12,000, I can buy a Japanese Kai car new. Yeah. Pretty much when it comes to PC, if you think about how much you spend on PC parts per year, you'll be like, oh man, I could have bought myself a Cadillac for that price. You know, some people say they could have bought them a Hummer, whatever, you know. I mean, PC parts are getting expensive. They're not getting any cheaper. But next year, I am going to make that trip to CES. I'm already talking about it. I'm already putting it on my calendar. I'm already going to make it happen for next year. So, but anyway, and anywho, anybody got any questions for me? We went through a lot today. We talked about a lot today. So any questions or concerns that you have, this is the point in time to bring them up. So if you got a question, I'm here to answer it. Just let you know. And if nobody's got any more questions, then we can take and call it a day right here. So if y'all ain't got no questions or concerns or anything, all I'm going to say to y'all is sit tight. Let's see what's going to happen in the month of January, because if they got nothing coming out in February or March or April, or, you know, it gets to like June, that they're not going to have anything till June. And the things that they're going to bring out are probably going to be nonsense compared to what they just put out anyway. Just to say. So, and I say nonsense because that's pretty much what they put out. All, you know, when they put out all their good stuff at the beginning of the year, they're going to put out nonsense all the way through the year till you get to the third quarter and then the fourth quarter, and then they're going to put out something new because that's Christmas time. You know, you have to look at it that way. Want to show some beautiful GPUs next time. Video cards and tech power up will have us covered. Yeah, I'd rather have them in my hands. Like, I could do this right here. I could do this right here and say, you know what, I got it. Or I could do this right here. I could do this right here. Look at that. I got it. Tested it. Everything else, performance-wise, I mean, between the two, I'll tell you what, I'm happy with either one of these right now. Either one of those GPUs I'm happy with. So, you know, makes a big difference. Friend of mine bought a PC at a German website for 1,200, well, what was that? 12,000 euros? Paid more. Wow. He wanted a better, newer GPU at it and paid 4K more. And now, 4 years later, my ITX PC for 1,400 euro is 5% faster. Wow. Question is, as long as you're happy with it, that's what matters. If you're happy with it, that's what matters. If you're not happy with it, you want to know what you need to change to make it better, that's not a problem. Because now these days, and I want everybody to understand this, now these days with the newest parts are interchangeable with last gen and this gen and the generation before. As long as it supports Windows 10 and Windows 11, all the parts for those kind of generations, the Windows 10 and Windows 11, your PC parts will support each other to a point. To a point. I know y'all are going to say, well, there's a point to it. Yeah, to a point. Just like I said, the 5700X is a really good starting point. Even though I know the 5600G will run the RTX 4070, the one I got here, I know it'll run it because I've already tested it. Let's see, what kind of tested did I get doing with that? Which I got that too. So, you know, I do keep my benchmarks and everything else. I don't try to keep graphs and everything else. When I do benchmarking, I benchmark the whole thing. Let's see, benchmark shorts. Let's see, 5600G. Let's see, we will do Nero benchmark. Okay. And this one is 5600G, 4070. Yeah. Okay. Y'all want to see this? This is real deal numbers. Okay. Now look at the graph very carefully. This is Nero benchmark. It's on Steam. You can try it yourself. Ryzen 5 5600G with Radeon graphics, 1560. AI tagging, AVC decoding and encoding right here. GPU score, 6989. AVC decoding and encoding. Metaverse. I don't know why that said. But this is an Nvidia GeForce RTX 4070. SSD and HD 2586. Look at that. 2,372.76 megabits per second. Sequential reads, they get it up to 27, so it's 500 more megabits per second. Made me happy. Look at it where it sits in the green. And this is the Ryzen 5 5600G with the RTX 4070. Look at the green. Look how far it sits up there. So that's something to really think about. That is really something to think about when you get a score like that off of a 5600G with an RTX 4070. You know, so I wanted you to think about that, especially when you go to think about you're upgrading your GPU and you're thinking, oh my God, he's bottlenecking that processor, that CPU processor. Actually, no, I'm not. I did not bottleneck it whatsoever. Just to let you know that. So, if you want to save your money, you can save it that way, test it out, you know, with whatever GPU you want. That's up to you. I say too much to him, but he don't want to hear me. Time 16 BC for wow. PUBG rip money. Oh, I understand, Roman. Money's tight everywhere for everybody. That's the reason why I said, you know, the 5600G is still a decent processor. It has integrated graphics, yes, but you can always upgrade the integrated graphics to a discrete graphics card and roll with it. You know, save your money and just buy yourself a discrete graphics card, roll with it. So he surely could brag about it if he wanted. But now it slowly turns into a dinosaur. Yeah. But just like Jay said, being happy is the key, which is true. You know, maybe your friend got lots of work and creation done these years. Nero score not run at Linux. I tested it before. Well, okay. I'm gonna state this. You're trying to Windows runs different than Linux. Okay. Windows has more stuff that runs in the background that causes a lot of lag and everything else to slow down, you know, your performance. Now, Linux is on the other hand, is a little bit different. The only way you can slow down your performance in Linux is if you add things to the program. You know, you add more things to it. But with Windows, it's already there. So, you know, it's a lot of garbage inside their system. But they're already talking about Windows 12. They're already talking about pulling a lot of stuff out of Windows 12, a lot of the bloatware. So Windows 12 is going to become like a bare bone operating system. That's what they're talking about doing, making it close to bare bone operating system. So it's be like same thing as buying a Linux, you know, a Linux program. But with Linux, it's free open source software compared to Microsoft charging an arm and a leg. So, see, Gabe Newell just called. He will mail Linus Torvald about it. Cool. A Ryzen 5600G can run with 7900 XTX it's too no bottleneck. Well, yeah, 7900 XTX, you know, that's kind of pushing the, you know, the margin of, you know, the usage of your processor kind of to that limit. You know, that's kind of pushing your processor to the limit with that GPU. Okay. 4070, 4060 Ti, 4060, they're still viable to run with the 5600G. You know, I mean, some people are running the RX 580 with the 5600G, and they say they get a lot of performance on older games, but not in the new games. You know, the AAA title games, you're not getting the performance you want. But like I said, try a 4060 Ti 16 gigabytes, perfect to run with 5600G. Even the 7600 XT they just came out with, that's perfect to run with the 5600G. And that's only $329. So if you want to improve your graphics and you want to get a better and more stable FPS, then yeah, it's going to take money and time to update and upgrade what you have on hand. If you were to take that 7600 XT and put it on, let's say, a 7800 X3D, that processor is going to bottleneck that GPU. So that GPU is not going to be viable for something that's an AM5 series. AM4, I would think it would be a lot more stable, you know, and run in a balance compared to AM5 at this point. So, no. Linux runs much more in the background. At Windows 11 is 300 processes. Gaming Linux, 3,000 processes. But Windows 11 needs 15 gigabytes. Linux needs only 7. Well, I've tried out Linux before. Okay. As far as it running on my PC, I've seen a big difference in, you know, the usage, it being, you know, less cobbled together like Windows is. But yeah, you're still going to have problems with open source. You're still going to have problems with spyware and telemetry, maybe, you know. But that's with Windows too. You got all that running in the background as it is until you shut it all off. Some people are talking about, you know what, why don't we just take out the cloud for Microsoft and just use it on their website at Outlook.com. Well, that's what they used to do back then. They didn't have the cloud, you know, so everything was done from the website. But now they want everything done in the cloud, and guess what happens there? Y'all really want to know what happens there? That's when Microsoft says, well, you're doing everything from the cloud, now it's time to charge you. Now they're going to take, and like with Windows Word program, they're going to discontinue that off your Windows 10 and your Windows 11 computer. And if you want it, you're going to have to go buy it from their store. So, just like with a lot of things they've been doing, they've been taking a lot of things off of the Windows programming for the last 4 years. They're stripping it down till they get to this point at Windows 12 where they're going to start making everything subscriptions, to where you got to pay for a subscription, just like they did with Microsoft 365, which is what? Microsoft Office. Now you got to pay for a subscription. Now, with Microsoft Video Editor, they used to be on there. They changed it to Clipchamp. Now, in order for you to make 4K videos, guess what you got to do? You got to pay for a subscription. It's not getting any easier. I'm going to tell you that with Windows. They're going to have everything on subscription, and the only thing that they have left to barter with is the operating system. And then by then, they're going to be charging you like $2,000 for the operating system. They're already charging you almost $400 for the operating system. Back then, in the 80s, they were charging close to maybe, what, 60, 75 bucks? Maybe a little less? Who knows? I know because they did. I bought all the operating systems, and it sucked. Getting the retail key was the hardest thing to get because they wanted like a couple $100 for the retail key. So it's not that easy. They might release hell. Yeah, that's pretty much what they're going to release is hell. And everybody's going to be so pissed off. They're going to say, nope, I'm staying on Windows 10. I'm staying on Windows 11. You know, there's nothing you can do. Well, Microsoft can force you, if they wanted to go to Windows 11 or to any Windows they put up recently. Like they did with Windows 95. Unless you got the right motherboard and the right processor, it's the only way you can get Windows 95 to work. Just like Windows 98 and so on. Once they cut it off, they put a code in there that blocks your operating system from working on those devices. So that sucks. Microsoft is getting more expensive, especially with this new AI thing. The more money they're putting into this AI, the more they're going to charge you for every little thing. They're going to nickel and dime you to death before this is all over. Before it hits 2027, they're going to be nickeling and diming you to death. So it's either you can afford the product key or you can't. And that's another thing too. Another thing. I took off my product key. I'll show you all. Oh, no. Okay, let's do this. I'll just show you all real quick. Display settings. Go to 2. Make it my main display. Minimize this. Okay, let's see if I can do this right. Now, let's go to the action screen. Now, since this is I did this as my main, you notice right here, let me move this. There. I moved that out of the way. Look what's not there, right here. Look what's not here. I put a product key in. Yay. Just to let y'all know that. So now you all don't have to look at that little watermark anymore. I changed the tune of the watermark. So, just let you know. I did that this morning. So, just to get on all that. Sometimes getting a boat is just less expensive. Yeah, just like getting a car is just less expensive. But you go to buy a PC, then you're looking at about the same price to buy a PC. Some guy paid over $10,000 for a PC. You know what? You can buy 2 cars for a PC. You don't see the steering wheel. You don't see the wheels on the PC. You don't see the little seat on the PC. Then you sit yourself on the PC, and then you call it AI accelerated. So you're going down the road on an AI accelerator. Yeah, right. Think about it. Nice AI gaming room, Jay. That's not mine. That's a background for Asus. That's an Asus background right there. You can go to their website and get all their, if you got their Mobo, and they give you free backgrounds. So it is cool. Okay, everybody. If y'all ain't got no more questions, then we're going to take and wrap it up right here. Just to let y'all know that. We're going to wrap it up right here. We're going to go ahead and change the displays because we can't have that. We got to move that display down there. But anyway, we're going to move the display around really quick, which I did. All right. Y'all listen, y'all going to have a fine day. But if this is your first time here, make sure you subscribe. And if you've already subscribed, welcome to the family. Welcome to JG's PC Builds community. And my veteran subscribers, as always, much love to you for all that you do. Help support the channel, watching videos from beginning to end. And also, too, telling your friends to come on down and subscribe, watching the videos from beginning to end. But anyway, guys, I'm going to get out of here. I got, I'm always on the go. So, but until the next time in the next video, you know who it is, me right here. And we will see you on the next video.